So, fellas, man, we rocking and rolling, man. How y'all brothers feeling today? Feeling good, feeling good. Ready to get it in, man. We've been covering some layers, man. We've been getting it done, man. You know, over these past few sessions. Do y'all feel more like equipped as a father, just more aware as a father, just with the classes that we've taken?
More encouraged, too.
You see, more encouraged, right? More encouraged. What gives us the encouragement?
Knowledge.
The knowledge, ain't it? Don't the knowledge give you encouragement? They say the reason why people lack motivation is because they lack direction. They say once you get the direction, then you become more motivated, right? So then that's important. Like when you tell me point A to point B to point C, now you like, man, okay, I can get that done, right? I remember when I had said that I wanted to write a book for I don't know how long. Like, man, I want to write a book. I got a book in me, right? And then when my dude from DC, he shot me, he said, man, Los, he's like, man, here go this Brendan Bouchard, right? It's the Total Product Blueprint. And it teaches you how to write a book. And it gives you the framework on how to write a book. It says, man, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, and then this is the body, and then that's the conclusion, right? And he broke it down to a point to where now I got the direction on how to write a book, so now I'll be motivated to write the book. The first book, Prison Without Bars, I wrote that in 15 days, man. The second book, The Walking Logo, I wrote it in 30 days. The Greatest Responsibility, right, Becoming the Parent Your Child Deserves, I wrote that in about 2 months. So it's just like, man, but it's just like, because I know the direction, I'll be motivated to get it done now. Once I got the framework, it's like, okay, now it's just about, am I going to do what's necessary? It's not can we do it, it's not should we do it. Only question that we should be asking ourselves is, will we do it? Will you do what is necessary? So that's what it's all about, and that's what y'all men are getting, is just that direction. So now it's like, man, hey, I can't wait to go ahead and apply this stuff in my parenting, right? We working with the heads, we working with the mind game. Because that's how we, okay, good stuff. That's how we get it done, man. Do we got everybody?
We might be missing one.
That redheaded dude got out.
Oh, yeah, he did. Okay, yeah, no, we got everybody then. Yep, we got everybody. Yep, he got out Monday, didn't he? Yeah. Yep, sure enough, absolutely. So yeah, but this is what it's all about, fellas, man, and that's what's exciting. You know, when you start to like just become aware of this knowledge, man. Knowledge is beautiful, like you said, man. Knowledge is what makes me feel more excited, man, more encouraged, right? Is the knowledge, because now I know. Now I'm not just fishing. You know what I'm saying? If somebody tell you like, man, go ahead and start your business, you like, okay, it sounds good, but if you don't have the particulars on how to get that done, are you gonna get it done? No. Are you gonna, right? You like, man, but where do I really start at? And because you don't know where to start at, a lot of times we don't ever get started, right? But when we know where to start, know the direction, then that leads us to, man, getting that stuff done. And that's what it's all about. We all know that we got the desire for our children to be successful. That's what I know with every father that I come in contact with. I know that you want your children to be good, man. It's just about understanding how to get that done. And the way that we get that done is how? Making sure that they have the right mind to go at life with. Because we don't want them to go at life with a mind that's going to put them in situations that they don't want to be in. What put us in our situation?
Choices.
Our minds, right? The choices are made with what? Our minds, right? Our mindset, right? So we got to change our mindset to get different results. So we want our children to have a mindset that's going to put them in favorable results when they are adults. The only way that they are going to have that mindset is how, man?
Knowledge.
Who gonna give them that knowledge?
We are.
We are responsible in giving our children the knowledge that's going to develop the mind, the philosophy that's going to put them in their best place in life. A lot of times people can look at themselves and be like, man, why am I like this? It's your philosophy. Your philosophy is the reason why you are where you are. And until you change your philosophy, your place that you are will not change. It will only get worse. If it does change, it's going to change for what? The worse. right? Because you got to do something to intentionally make your situation better for it to be better. And the thing about it is, it's not just going to become better just because we wanted to, just because we needed to. The only reason why it's going to become better, the only way that it is going to become better is if we put in the work to make it better. That means, what am I doing today to make my situation better? So when you say that, man, you know what, I'm going to make sure that I make it to class. When y'all brothers watching the documentary, y'all like, man, I'm going to watch the documentary. That's stuff that's getting put into your head, right, to make your situation better. All of these things is saying, man, you know what, I want my situation better. Matter of fact, not even I want my situation better no more. It's now I expect my situation to be better, because of what the level of and amount of work that I'm putting in to make it better. That's game changing. So now when we talking about our children, and the reason why we doing it is why, man? Because of our love for our children. It's the love for our children is why we saying, man, we about to make that commitment, because of my love for my children. That means that I'm about to start where? To establish a strong, positive relationship with my children. I'm going to start within. I'm not going to start with them without. I'm going to start within, because that's where the greatest resources are, is where? Within. I need to make my mind be used for me and not my mind to be allowed to be used against me. I need my mind working for me. That means that I need my mind to develop a life that I want to have. I need my mind to deliver my children a father that I want them to have. I need my mind to develop my children into adults that I want them to be. I need my mind to do that. That's how I use my mind. It's like, man, I need my mind to, man, get the things in life that I want to have. If we don't fight for the type of father that we want to be, and the type of father that we want to deliver to our children, the father that we don't want to be will automatically take over. Y'all hear that, fellas? If you don't fight for the father that you want to deliver to your children, if you don't fight for the father that you want to be, then the father that you don't want to be will automatically take over. You got to fight for that stuff. If you don't fight for the type of adults that you want your children to be, then the adult that you don't want them to be will automatically take over. It's a fight, men. How can we fight it without the mind to fight this fight with? That's what it is. It's a lost cause. Like, either you fighting for what you want, or you gonna have to settle for what you don't want. That's crazy. Like, I hear people all the time, they be like, man, let's get in the middle of the street, let's get bloody. People so willing to fight somebody else, but they not willing to fight that which is inside of themselves that's stopping them from being who they need to be. They'll fight the government, they'll fight people out there in the streets, they'll fight their neighbor, they'll fight everybody. You drop of a hat, boom, let's get it in, right? But when it comes to them fighting those habits that's preventing them from being to that next level, they ain't willing to fight that. They allowing that to just continue to win. When they, instead of fighting that neglect, when it's like, man, hey man, let me fight this neglect, man, where I'm neglecting that in my life. Let me fight that. Where is our fight at, man? We got to make sure we focused on the right thing, man. Something that's worth it, right? So when we talking about, man, what type of father that we want to deliver to our children, into the first thing, first of all, let's go back, recap. Establishing a strong, positive relationship. What does a strong, positive relationship look like, fellas?
Without barriers.
A relationship without barriers. Absolutely right. That gives me the ability to be able to transfer information. What do I get from a positive, strong relationship?
Positive, strong relationship with your children makes you be the father you want to be, and turns them into the adults you want to be. And
Hold up. What do I get from a strong, positive relationship? What's this whole thing about? Huh? Nuh-uh. Influence. Absolutely right. Influence, right? That's what we get is influence through a strong positive relationship. That means influence cannot be obtained except only way you can get influence is through a strong positive relationship. So then that's why we are so focused on developing a strong positive relationship, because we want to have influence with our children. That means that we want to be more influential than the people that's outside in society in our children's lives, right? Because the people out there in society, their main objective is what? To make money, because society is driven by business. It's about, man, how can I make $1? It's not about how can I make sure that this individual is living their best life, right? So we want to make sure, see, society will say, man, go ahead and get that Benz and you'll be living life, right? You'll feel good until you get that Benz and you be like, man, it felt good when it was new, but now it's just the Benz. It's just the car that gets me from point A to point B, right? It wears off. See, society isn't going to tell you to focus on relationships, because that's the most valuable thing out here that's going right now is relationships. Relationships is more valuable than anything. That's the most valuable commodity that you can have is a relationship, a strong positive relationship, because opportunity comes through relationships. That means that I can make any amount of money with the right relationships. That means that I can have a whole bunch of money, and if I don't have the right relationships, I can't even spend it. You can have money all day long, but that money ain't gonna do nothing when other people got money too, and they like, man, I don't care about that money. That's not going to move me. I got to like who you are. And if I don't like who you are, then guess what? You will not walk through this door, because I'm the gatekeeper of this door. Opportunity comes through relationships, right? So we want to make sure that we are establishing that strong positive relationship with our children, so not only will we be influential in their lives, but it gives them the keys to success for them to be influential in other people's lives, because they understand how to do what? Establish a strong positive relationship as well with others. The reason why people are struggling in their relationships because they hadn't had a strong relationship established with them. So then they don't know how it's done as adults. So by us doing that intentionally with them, it gives them the keys to go out there to do it with others, right? So that's what it's all about. So when we started talking about, man, what type of father that we want to deliver to our children, where do we start at? We start at, man, reflecting, right? Where do we reflect at?
The positive things that our parents did for us that we can carry on and do with our children.
Absolutely right. And some of the positive things that happened that left the positive feelings inside of you when you were a child, when you were interacting with your father or your mother back in the days, what were some of the positive interactions that left the positive feelings with you back when you were a child? Doc.
I don't remember
Any, just one small thing.
Nothing really, just bad memories.
Right. But see, this is key though, and I guarantee it's something there. And the reason why I say it's something there, because it's something that happened when you was
It's positive.
yeah.
Well, me and my brother was in foster care, but she used to bring us, like, you know, I still got this stuffed animal she gave me. It's a teddy bear. It was for Valentine's Day. She bought us a whole bunch of, you know, beef jerky, stuff we like, foster home. And I mean, that was really positive. I mean, my mom was showing me that she, you know, could do stuff for me and my brother.
No doubt. So see, that's what I said. I knew it was something there, because it's some right in the wrong of us and there's some wrong in the right of us. But what we want to do when we determine in this father that we want to be is we want to find where the right is, because we want to duplicate that right. So then that means that with your children, you want to make sure that you respond to Valentine's Day like your mother responded to Valentine's Day, even if it was just that one time. Right? You know how you felt when she did that. So now only thing that we are doing is we are just duplicating that. And that's where we will start at. Some people might not have nothing but one or two things that they can think of, but you're going to build on those one or two things. And then you can go ahead and build more and more and more. But we got to still find what was right so we can duplicate that. And when you determine the type of father that you want to be, you're going to say, man, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to duplicate what I already know to be right, right? So then when we think about the negative, right? Once we duplicate the positive, now what do we do with the negative?
Resist.
We resist the negative. So now when we asked about the negative, we should be well off now, right? Because now you like, hold up, don't talk to me about that. I can go ahead and brrr. So now you know a lot of things that you got to be resistant. But we got to be conscious of it. We got to make sure that we are focused on not doing that so we don't deliver that to our children. Why? Because we already know it to be negative. And if we don't focus on not doing it, then it will be delivered to our children unconsciously. Because it's in our heads. Right? It's in our heads. The things that we are influenced beings, right? The things that we do is the things that we've been taught how to do. The way that we interact with people is the way that we've been taught how to interact. If I'm critical of people, guess why I'm critical of people?
Somebody was critical on you.
Because somebody was critical of me. And I never took the time to identify that negative and resist it. I never took the time to say, man, I didn't like it when people were so critical of me. They looked at the wrong in me. They never looked at the right in me. Every time that I did wrong, they went on ahead and took it all the way up to another level. And I didn't like that. Because I didn't take the time to identify it, now what happens is that it surfaces in my regular being, in my parenting, in my friendships. Now I'm critical of other people because I'm not intentionally resisting from delivering it in my current day and time. So then therefore, the way that I felt when people was doing that to me, other people feel that with me now when I do it to them. The relationship is weak, just like the relationship was weak with me back then. So then that's why it is so important that we identify and resist. Again, what are we doing, man? We are using our minds to offer us our best lives. That's the tool that we have been given. We have been blessed with a mind. That's why we dominate the earth. Because we have the ability to be able to change directions. We have the ability to rationalize. We have the ability to think. We're not driven off of instinct. So I want to use my mind to deliver me my best life. To deliver the best father that I can possibly muster up. So now I'm resistant from doing the negative. Have y'all, man, written that negatives down? Taking the time. I encourage you, right? This is the work. This is what you saying, man. This is my seed that I'm planting. When you say, man, I want to be this father, this is the work that needs to be done. Because it's something that happens when you first think about it, and then when you write that stuff down, just think about, man, I'm reflecting on my past. I'm looking at the positive. Boom, I'm about to write it down. So now, when somebody asks you about the positives, you already know. You can be like, boom, 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 because you thought about it, you've written it down, you pondered on what the message was when we presented it in this class, and now it's going to start to be right here in the front of your mind, right? So now you're going to really deliver it when you have the opportunity, because you're thinking about delivering it. Right? And then when you look at you reflect on the negative, now you write that down. This is what happens. So now you even going back and you thinking about how you felt back then. You even uncovering those scabs to the scars from back then when the negative things were happening. And you saying, man, dang, I can't stand that. It might even make you angry again. You might even get to be in a space to be like, man, that stuff was messed up. It's necessary. That's the work that we are putting in to deliver our children the best father that we can possibly deliver them. And then we write that stuff down. And then we look at what we've written down. Look at this. Look at this. This is what it is. This is the work. Write it down. Boom. Look at what I've written down. Read what I've written down. Right? What do you think that will do? Oh my gosh. It's going to make your mind a certain type of way. These are actionable steps that we got to take to get us away from that mentality that put us in a bad space. This is what we got to do. If we don't do it, then guess what? It's just not going to be done. Like, this is the level of work, because we got to think about, man, the level of work that we put into developing us the way that we are. The top is reserved for those people who are focused on it. Strong relationships are reserved for those people who are focused on establishing a strong, positive relationship. Anybody is not going to be able to get it. Everybody wants it. Everybody wants it. Everybody say they need it. But it's only reserved for those people who are focused on getting it done. That's the only people that's going to be able to grab it. It's the only people. It's no shortcuts. It's not going to be given to you just because. You got to go after it, right? So after we look at the positive, duplicate the positive, we identify the negative, we resist the negative. Now we look outside of ourselves, right? We look at other fathers. We look at fathers on the TV screen and on TV shows. We look at fathers in the movies, and we say, man, you know what? I like the way that father is interacting with their children on the TV screen and the movies. I like the way that father is interacting with his children in the community. I like the way that he's coming and he's a coach on his child's football team. You know what? I want to be a coach too. You know, I'm gonna do that too. Even though I could have grew up and my father wasn't no coach or my father wasn't doing that. So I'm looking outside of me, other fathers in my community, on the TV, in the movies, and I'm saying that I'm going to apply that to my parenting as well. I'm going to give my children the same thing that I see. I like that. It's just me making a conscious effort of what I'm doing with my children. That's all I'm doing. What type of father that I'm delivering, right? And what did we look at? I looked at my wife and kids, and I just looked at that again the other day. Man, that stuff be good for me, man. I love that stuff, man. My wife and kids don't be no joke, man. That stuff be hilarious, man, to me. Right. You know, but I'll be getting ideas from that. You know, just the way that he interacts with his children on the creative side. You know, he doesn't jump to conclusions. He doesn't just, and when he's wrong, he says that he's wrong. So I just want to be that type of father. I don't want to be a father, you know, that's just, man, just straightforward and stuff like that. I want to be creative. You know, I want to be patient. He's patient. You know, so I want to be patient too as well with my children. So I get that idea from watching that. You know, all of this information is going into the mind and understanding what type of father that I'm going to deliver to my children. And that's the thought that we got to put into it. If we're not putting in that level of thought, then we're going to just give our children any old type of father, right? We don't want that. Because we do that, we're going to have any old type of relationship. If we have any old type of relationship, then they can become any old type of adult, right? So we don't want that. So then that's the first step into establishing a strong, positive relationship. What we discuss is understanding what type of father that we're going to deliver to our children. The next page that we are turning back, the next layer that we peeling back is what? Understanding what type of adults that we want our children to be. So if we talked about what was our goals as a father, what type of father that we want to be to our children, now we got to start to think about what type of adults do we want our children to become. Right? Right? And then after we understand what type of adults that we want our children to become, what are our goals that we have for our children, then we got to understand how to get that done. How do we get it done? We get it done through encouragement. Encouragement means to be specific. It's telling them exactly what they did, how it benefited the situation, how it's going to benefit them in the future. When we do that, it locks it into their minds so then they can do what? Duplicate the behavior. So when we see them exhibiting one of our goals that we have for them, we encourage that behavior. And when we encourage that behavior, they will look for other opportunities to do the same exact thing because they like the encouragement. Who likes encouragement? You like encouragement, don't you? Absolutely. No doubt. the other day when you had the headache, and I told you, I said, man, you know what, brother, you got it in, man. You got up, man. You did what was necessary. You should have seen how you lit up, brother. You lit up because I was telling you about what you was able to overcome. I encouraged the behavior. When I encouraged the behavior, you like, man, no doubt, that's me. I did that. I got up. I had a headache, no doubt. I ain't let that headache override me and what I needed to get done. You got up. You say, man, you should have seen how you look, man. Like, you was like, that's me. No doubt. Right, no doubt. We all like encouragement, man. So often we've been beaten down. How many of us been beaten down? Like, for real? Brother, like, two hands up. Like, brothers been beaten down, especially men inside a society with flaws, which we all got flaws. We've all committed errors. But people have taken our errors to a whole nother level. Like, man, you are a failure. So when we get encouraged, we gravitate to that. It makes us feel a certain type of way. But that's what we want to do with our children. We want to encourage the behavior that is positive, that aligns with our goals that we have for them. Now, when we talked about the goals that we have for our children, do we base the goals on our children on what type of profession that we want them to be? No. Or do we base it on what type of character that we want them to be? Why not the profession, man? Why not? I want my kid to go ahead and run the business like I started.
That's maybe not what they want to do with their life.
Man, but I want them to go ahead and...
It ain't about you.
Oh my gosh, man. Oh wow.
It ain't about you, it's about the kids.
That's crazy. It's about them as an individual. I'm not trying to create a clone. If I'm sitting up there saying, man, I want you to go ahead and be a speaker like I'm a speaker, then what I'm doing is saying, man, I'm about to hijack your life now. I'm not only satisfied with my life, I still got my life to work on. This is what's crazy. As a father, as an individual, you got your own life to work on. You can't sit up there and hijack somebody else's life. Let them go ahead and live their lives. As a father, I want my children to have the space to be able to live their lives, right? I don't want to sit up there and say, man, I want you to be a speaker, because when I'm speaking, it taps into something that's inside of me that gives me a certain level of fulfillment that I want you to have. Like, the only way that you're going to have that fulfillment is if you tap into what's inside of you. Not you doing the same thing that I'm doing. You're not going to get it. You might be able to do it well, but you won't feel successful. Other people might look at you and be like, you're successful. But when you lay down at night, you like, I just don't feel fulfilled, man. My brother, he say, Los, man, I'm making a lot of money, man. But I just don't feel like fulfilled. I done figured out the game on, this business thing, but I just don't feel fulfilled. I want to do more. That's different. That's because he's doing what he needs to do to make money, but he's not tapping into what's inside of him to be able to get that fulfillment out of life that you want. That's where we want our children to be at. The way we get them there is when we develop that right type of character to warrant that level of success. So when we thinking about the character, what are some of the character traits that we want them to have in order to warrant success?
Confident, not arrogant.
Confidence, right? Because if they're confident, then what does that mean for them as adults? They're going to be in desirable situations, right? Because when we are insecure, what happens? We trying to fit in.
Any way we can.
Any way you can. You continue to morph into what people believe that you should be. People like, man, this is the way you do things. And you like, man, I'm going to do things like that so I can fit in. I lowered myself. I lowered myself a lot, man. when I was a teenager. I used to know stuff in school, but I didn't really like go out there and really apply myself in school because I didn't want to be considered as a nerd, right? So I'm like, man, let me go ahead and just smoke weed and just take on this gangsterism thing, you know, let me do it as gangster as possible because that's the hood, right? I didn't want to sit up here and be like, you know, like I knew stuff. Straight up, I was making merit roll and honor roll like in 5th grade, you know, 6th grade, but 6th, 7th grade come, I was like, man, hold up, man. Everybody around me, they smoking, they drinking. My dude started selling dope, and I'm like, man, hold up, man. I want to fit in. Let me go in and get some money now, you know? And I wanted to fit in. Why did I want to fit in? Because I was insecure. I was lacking confidence. Because of my environment. Remember, I told you my father, he was there and he was doing his thing, but the other adults around me, they cracked on my facial features. They talked to me aggressively. They was critical of me, right? All of these things, it hurt my confidence. And because it hurt my confidence, it made me susceptible of somebody else's agenda. Because of my lack of confidence. It said that, man, you know what? Somebody else's agenda is loose, man. Get out there, sell that dope. As long as I continue to flip and flip and flip, I continue to fund somebody else's business. The bigger picture, the prison industry. Crazy because of my insecurity. So then this is why we want to make sure, this is as real as it gets, man. That's why I want to make sure that my children are confident. So I am focused on ensuring that they are confident. Why? Because if they are insecure, then they will be in vulnerable situations because people will have them to fulfill their agendas. That's not beneficial to them, right? I want them to be good decision makers. That's the next one, right?
Yes, sir.
Because if they make good decisions, where they gonna be at in life?
The best possible place they can be.
It's just a string, just putting it together. A string of good decisions. Make one good decision here. Only thing I'm saying is make one good decision. And then you make 2 good decisions. Like when you wake up, it's like, man, I'm just gonna make a good decision right now. I'm gonna make another one. And you string them together until you'll look up and you'll be in a beautiful place because of those good decisions that you strung together. And a good decision is what? Is making sure that you understand the consequences. That means that you want to exert all of your energy into understanding the consequences of that decision. Because the consequences is what you're going to live with. You get out of here, it's going to be people trying to get with you. Like, man, let me holler at you, man. Let me get with you, man. What up, though, man? Like, it's going to be dudes that you done grew up with trying to get with you. It's going to be women that you done known that's waiting on for you to come home that's going to be trying to get with you. And you're going to look at them and you got to make the decision based on the consequences, understanding the consequences. So when you see people out there and you be like, man, hold up. I see you still doing the same thing. And if I get with you and you doing the same thing, then I'm going to be doing what you doing. He who walks with the wise too shall become wise. He who walks with fools will be devoured. That means that it's no gray area. That is black and white. That means that if you walk with a fool, you will be devoured. It doesn't matter if that fool is your cousin. It doesn't matter if that fool is your brother, if that fool is your mother. If you are walking with a fool, you will be devoured. You will get what a fool gets. But if you walk with the people who are wise, you too shall become wise. These are decisions that we make. Okay. If you go out there and you say, man, I'm going to hang around with everybody who sell dope, I'm going to hang around with everybody who gets high, what do you think that you will soon be doing? So what do? I hang around other fathers. Why do I hang around other fathers? Because I have a desire to be a father. When I got released from prison, who did I hang around with? Employees. Why? Because I was looking for employment. When I hung around employees brought me opportunities. They said, man, you know they hiring over here. For real? I'm connected with an employee. I couldn't have got the opportunity of being an employee if I wasn't hanging with an employee. The reason why I got that opportunity is because I hung with the employees. So I became an employee. If I would have been hanging with the brothers who were still selling dope, just getting high all day, getting drunk all day, selling their dope, then guess what I would have been doing?
The same thing.
I would have been doing the same exact thing. Don't underestimate that. So then that's what I want to make sure, that my children are making good decisions, understanding the consequences to their decisions, because that's what they will have to live with, right? The next, what's the next character trait?
Self-regulated.
Self-regulated. We want them to regulate themselves. Why do we want them to regulate themselves? We want them to understand what needs to be done, get that stuff done. Because the people who get that stuff done and regulate themselves find themselves in successful places at the end of the day. That means that you ain't got to be told what to do. You already know what needs to be done. You're going to get it done. That's what it is. So we want our children to be self-regulated. We also want them to be what?
Individuals that bring stuff to the table.
Individuals that bring value back to the table, right? Because when you are a person that has something to offer, that makes you attractive to other people. Period. When somebody is coming to you with solutions, how do you feel about that person? You like, man, hold up, man. I like this brother. Like, let me talk to the brother. This brother got some solutions, man. You know, he got some solutions to some problems that I have. People pay for solutions. What do they do with problems?
Solve.
They want to get rid of them, don't they?
Yeah.
Don't the human nature wants to get rid of problems. So people be like, man, I'm a problem. Is that what you want? No, don't nobody want no problem.
Boy,
you know what I'm going to do with a problem? I'm going to get away from you, right? You stay over there, problem. Some people be so problematic, and I be like, man, that's cool. You come up with the solution, and they going to find a problem with the solution. I'm like, man, you so problematic, I can't even offer you no solution.
Talk to them, man.
I'm like, this is crazy. You know how many people I talk to on a daily basis? They in bad situations, and I'm trying to give them the solution to their problems, but they telling me the problem with my solution. And I'm like, brother, if you had the solution, then why are you coming to me? You telling me how to do it, and you ain't got it done. You in a bad situation, and I'm telling you, this is what you need to do to solve your problem. And they tell me, no, it's a problem. That won't work. I'm like, how you gonna tell me it won't work, and you ain't even tried it? What you have tried has gotten you your worst result, and you gonna tell me what won't work? I've done it. I've applied it. This is facts. I'm giving you what I know. I'll be like, man, listen, man, this is how you establish your credit. Man, no, that won't work, brother. This ain't going. I'm like, how you gonna tell me? And I done established my credit 3 times over. From different angles. Like, I got information. Man, this is how you get a shared parenting plan. No, that won't work. Man, this is how you go ahead and establish a strong relationship with the mother of your children. No, that won't work. But, brother, you fighting, going at it, and you ain't got that. Man, like, listen.
Can't tell them nothing.
They problematic, brother.
Yes.
They're not going to be satisfied until their problem continues to exist. We don't want our children to have that type of mind to where they like, if it's not no problem, I don't want to be dealing with it. It has to be problematic for me. Because if you're looking for problems, you will get them. If you're looking for them, brother, you're going to get them. Like, if you saying, man, I want problems are so, man, out there, they will come to you. You can fumble up on a problem. You don't even have to really look for problems. You could just say, I want a problem. They be like, don't worry about it. I'm right next to you. I'm here. We can become one, right? Problems are that easy to get. That's crazy. You ain't got to, like, negotiate with a problem. You ain't got to buy it. You can literally, like, they're plentiful, right? They're out out there. They like, man, I'm here, come on. They just waiting.
Pick me, pick me.
Pick me, pick me, pick me. And our minds are set up in a way like, man, hey, I'm going to get them. Because they're so easy to get, our minds are set up, hey, I just feel like I'm winning because I'm getting all of the problems. Let me get that problem. I got that problem. Let me get that problem. I got that problem. Let me get that problem. I want that problem. Like, and you like, man, hey, check the scoreboard. You know how many problems I got? Check the scoreboard. Well, fool, they so easy to get. That's why you can get them like that. But your responsibility should be solving them. I'm looking for solutions, because that's where the joy is at. Obtaining the solutions. That's heavy work, man. That's heavy work. So, the last goal that we have for our children is what?
To do their best.
Do their best. I believe that when my children do their best, man, they're going to be golden. Why? Because if they do their best, they're going to get their best
Results.
I'm so confident in that theory.
Oh, yeah.
I feel good when I give my children that theory. Man, do your best, and I bet you're going to get your best results. And what better can you get than the best, right? If you getting your best, if you getting best everything, then how are you going to be out here?
The best.
You're going to be like this.
Yeah.
Because you're getting the best of everything. Why are you getting the best of everything? Because you are doing the best that you can. All I can do is all I can do. And at the end of the day, all I can do is enough. I just got to make sure that I'm doing all that I can do. And if I'm doing all that I can do, that's enough. If I'm doing my best, that's the best that I can do. That's enough. That's enough. And if I'm doing my best, then I'm going to get my best results. That's what we want our children to develop, in that type of character where they are actually doing their best. I want them to have that. So how do we get them to accomplish these goals? The first thing that I do is what? We encourage the behavior, right? So when I see my daughter coloring in between the lines, what am I going to say? Encourage the behavior.
Yes.
How do I capitalize on that opportunity? Opportunity of a lifetime during a lifetime of the opportunity. That means that it comes, boom, and it goes. But you got to have the mind to be able to see the opportunity when it presents itself. If you don't have the mind to be able to see the opportunity when it presents itself, it becomes a missed opportunity. And you can only have so many missed opportunities before you become unsuccessful.
Yeah.
Opportunities are out there.
Yeah.
Right? They're out there. But if you don't have the mind, does it matter to you at all?
No, sir. Not at all.
So I got to be looking for the opportunity. So when I'm looking at my goals, I understand what my goals are. Now I'm looking for the opportunity to be able to encourage the behavior in my children when I see them exhibiting my goals. So when I see them doing the best, it's like, man, boom, I see what you are doing. You are doing your best,
Yes.
telling them exactly what they did. And then I'm going to encourage their behavior more. How is it benefiting the situation? Because you are coloring with inside of the lines, the picture is going to be phenomenal. That's a beautiful thing. It's going to go up on the refrigerator. Why? I tell my children, everything ain't going up on the refrigerator. Because everything ain't your best. When you do your best, that picture go up on the refrigerator. I ain't putting anything up on the refrigerator. I ain't selling my children short like that. It's like, man, you just put that together. I ain't putting that up on the refrigerator. Ain't nobody about to be looking at that halfway work. Like, I ain't putting that up on the refrigerator. Like, I don't say it, but I just don't put it up. But when it's like done their best and I see it, I say, wow, this puppy going up on the refrigerator. Everything ain't going up on the refrigerator. Your best. Encourage the behavior. And then I let them know how that's going to benefit them in the future. When you do your best like that, in the future, when you become an adult, man, you're going to have the best results. Watch what I tell you. You want a life that you enjoy, where you just happy, especially when they're younger. They understand like happy and stuff, and they just always want to be happy. They want to kick it, have fun. And that's what I let them know. I related to that. And I say, man, when you do your best, the way that you feel happy and good, and you can The main thing with children is what? Food. They just want food. That's what makes them go.
Yeah.
When they get some food, they be like this, like they just get to moving. Like you be like, man, why is you just dancing? Like for no reason. You be like, they just feeling it, right? That's what they like. Like that's the thing for them. Like just food. If they could just have snacks on top of snacks, candy on top of candy, that does it for them. So then that's what I relate, the type of feeling that they will have if they do their best. And I'll let them know, man, you do your best. The way that you feel in a joyous manner, you're going to feel like that when you get older because you're going to get the best results that's out there to get when you do your best. Now what that does, it locks it into their mind to where they look for ways and opportunities to do their best again because now they understand what it is that they're doing. What did I say from the beginning? We are developing their minds. Our minds have been developed to be where we at. And we got to do some rewiring, right? Because our mind's been developed in a way that's not going to get us our best lives. So we got to do some rewiring, right? We don't want our children to rewire. You want them to just tighten up the wires that we've already wired them up with, right? Because we got it right. We want them to get better. We don't want them to go back to their wiring that we have put in place, right? And say, hold up, I got to take this stuff apart. I've been wired the wrong way. When I'm doing my 10 years in prison, I said, hold up. You mean to tell me I literally was going to blow somebody's head off for some money? I've been wired the wrong way. I put a human life over money, where you can duplicate money, but you cannot duplicate a human life. You mean to tell me I value money more than a human life? This is crazy. I've been wired the wrong way. I've been wired the wrong way. I had to really challenge my wiring. And when I challenge my wiring, then it's like, let me go ahead and rewire myself in a way that's going to put me in my best place in life. If I fought for death, then what am I going to get? Death.
Yeah.
Okay. Wired the wrong way. So we want our children to be wired by us in the right way. And they can just build on that wiring. They can say, hey, I done put together some different connections. On top of the wiring that the connections you've already made in my mind is good. Now I'm putting together some different connections as they get older. But we don't want them to take apart the connections that we've put together because of our carelessness. Wire them the right way. This is what it's all about, man. So then that's understanding what type of adult that we want them to be. The next thing that we did to peeling back the layer and establishing a strong, positive relationship with our children is what? The art of communication. What's the greatest part in the communication process, man? Listening. Nothing says that you are there for a person more than just to listen. Because when I listen, what is that telling you? I'm trying to get an understanding of you. I can't get an understanding of you if I don't listen to you. Because the understanding is where? Inside of you. You got to give me that. I got to get the information from you. I don't jump to no conclusions. I don't just form my own understanding without the information. So I get the information from the actual individual. The way that I'm able to get the information from the actual individual is by me listening. That's what builds the strong relationship. Because now when I listen to you, now you say, man, I'm confident that you are not going to mishandle me. Why? Because one, you paid attention to what the heck I'm saying. That means that you care about what's inside of me and who I am for you to pay attention. So if you care that much, then why would you care that much and mishandle me on purpose? That's the first indicator that somebody care about who you are. Listening is key. So when I'm showing my children that I'm listening, what does it look like? What are some things that I can do to let them know that I'm listening?
summarize what's being said, make eye contact, empathetic facial expressions, and the presence of mind.
Absolutely right. Empathetic facial expressions, and all of this is up under presence of mind. Empathetic facial expressions, that means to put myself inside of their shoes. If they saying something is exciting, what am I going to do?
Wow.
Look surprised.
Ain't that how my face looks? Like, wow, man, like, for real? Wow. Summarize what's being said. Green Day? You just won Green Day? Wow. Naming what they might be feeling. You must be excited. And now when I'm doing that, I'm not taking over the conversation. I'm just continuing to guide the conversation. I'm just continuing to encourage that person to continue to talk to me. I'm encouraging my children to continue to talk to me because I'm present. They can see the presence of mind by the way that I am responding. Nodding the head. Eye contact. Empathetic facial expressions. Short phrases. Wow. No doubt. I understand. Most definitely. Exactly. I see. Right. Right. All of that, only thing that does, it just encourages the person to continue to talk. And this is the discipline that we got to have. We got to have that discipline when our children are talking. Because it's going to be tempting to what? Overtake the conversation.
Yes.
Especially if they talking about something that hits home with us. If they say, man, you know what? Man, Dad, man, I'm going to Spanish class and I'm trying to figure this Spanish out and I can't. And then you say, man, wow, man, that's what happened to me when I was in school. You should have seen what was going on with me in Spanish class. I couldn't figure that stuff out for nothing. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis. I finally remembered it. You'd have taken over the conversation and they was coming to you, telling you about what was going on with them. But because it hit home, this is the discipline that we got to have. This is what we got to have. We got to have that discipline because we understand that if we take over the conversation, what it will ultimately do is shut somebody down from even bringing things to you because they can't never get it out. When they have a conversation with you, it feels so incomplete. They come to you to bring what's inside of them, but because you overtaken the conversation, they like, man, you know what? I can't never come to Dad because every time I come to Dad, he overtakes the conversation. That stuff is easy to do, man. And you literally got to be thinking about this stuff in order not to do it. You got to think about that. I done been in conversations, I done been teaching class, and brothers done been like, man, you know what, man, I had to go down there and file for the shared parenting plan. I had to go, and it hit home with what I had to do, one of my similar situations, and I was ready to go all the way in. And I'm like, man, you know, and I remember I had thought about it. Again, look at what stopped me from doing what I was about to do, right? It's my mind. This is crazy. And I said, man, because I teach it, I implement it, I teach it, I implement it, I teach it. And because I do it, because of the repetition, that's why we repeat this stuff, because that locks it into our mind. So when we come up against it, we are able to be golden. Because now we start to apply it, and then we talk about it. We have conversations about this stuff, and this is what locks it in. So when I was tempted to do that, what happens? I remember, right? I remember what produces negative relationships, and that is overtaking the conversation. So I stopped when I was about to go in, and I went right back to my mode. Wow. I know you was frustrated. No doubt. Most definitely. And then it was crazy because at the end of class, I talked about when I got caught up in that mode and I had to check myself. And I asked that brother, I say, man, how did you feel? He's like, man, it felt good to be able to get it out, man. Like, no doubt, man. Like, it felt good. Like, it felt good me being able to talk about it. He wouldn't have been able to feel good like that if I would have cut him off like I was tempted to do. This is the mind that we gotta have, man. This is what it's about, man. The communication process. So we don't want to criticize, we don't want to label, man, you stupid, you dumb. Because when that happens, what happens if somebody says, man, you stupid, you dumb?
Your self-esteem get lower.
No doubt. And not only that, but you start to get offended, don't you? Don't you feel a certain type of way? When somebody says you stupid, you dumb, and they label something on you, they label you, you like, man, hold up, man, no, you stupid, you dumb. You might, that's how you feel. You like, no, you stupid, you dumb. Communication has broken down. I don't judge the people, like, I don't make a judgment, and that's difficult to do. So, did you disrespectful? Nah, man, you was just doing what you thought you needed to do to get done what you needed to get done. Why am I saying that you disrespected me when I haven't even asked you the questions? You disrespectful. Disrespect is when you intentionally do something to somebody that you know that they don't like or they don't want. Intentionally. So we don't want to jump to conclusions in the communication process, right? So the next layer that we peeled back was what? The forgiveness process. Nothing says baggage than the inability to forgive. 3 prongs to forgiveness is what? Asking for forgiveness.
Forgiving yourself.
Forgiveness of self.
And then forgive others.
Forgive others, right? All of these things can strengthen a relationship. Why? Because when I ask you for forgiveness, what do I got to do? I got to feel the what? The guilt. I got to feel sorry, right? For me to be able to ask you for forgiveness in a real way, I got to feel sorry. What did we discuss last week? Don't ask for forgiveness if you don't feel guilty. If you don't feel guilty. Don't ask for forgiveness just to get something back from somebody.
Or just to shut them up.
Right. The reason why we ask for forgiveness is to do what? Give.
Right.
Anytime that you asking for forgiveness to get, you know you in the wrong space. I'm asking for forgiveness to get back in with you.
Right.
I'm asking for forgiveness to get something back from you. I'm asking for forgiveness to be able to get to see my children. Whatever. Like, no, I'm asking for forgiveness to give you. In understanding that I'm sorry about what I did. And if I'm not asking for forgiveness to give you and let you know that I'm sorry for what I did, then I'm not asking for it. Because I'm going to do it again, whatever it is that I did that was supposed to be wrong. Because I don't believe that it was wrong. If I don't believe that it was wrong, then why apologize? If you don't believe that something is wrong, then why apologize for it? Right? Like, for real. Like, let's just be solid with ourselves. At the end of the day, man, if I don't believe that it's wrong, I'm not saying sorry. I just prefer to say nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't gonna get me to say sorry for something that I don't believe that I'm sorry for, that I'm not sorry for, right? So we want to make sure that we ask for forgiveness. What that does, it teaches our children to also ask for forgiveness, right? To identify their wrongs. Because if I'm going through that process, what's happening is that I'm going to start to get rid of those errors that's in my life because I don't like to be in that space to where I'm asking for forgiveness, right? I don't like to feel sorry. And if I don't like to feel sorry, then I'm going to stop doing that which makes me feel sorry. But the only way that I can do that is if I look at it. I don't want to be delusional and say, man, I ain't did nothing wrong. How many people have you been around that feel like that they ain't did nothing wrong? They feel like that they all right. You be in a relationship, you be like it's just one way. You just all right. I'm the one that's all wrong. You ain't did no wrong. It's people who really feel like that they just all right. And you know that that's not accurate. It's some right and the wrong of us, and it's some wrong and the right of us. But if you let somebody tell a story, and the relationship, man, it's all their fault why the relationship is in the place that it's in. Instead of taking accountability and saying, man, I've done some things that made the relationship be in the space that it's in. Because it's never just one way. It's always two people involved in the situation. People will be like, man, no, I'm just good all the way around the board. I'm good all the way around the board. And I always challenge that. So we want our children to be able to ask for forgiveness. The next thing that we want them to do is to what? Is to forgive yourself. Because your ability to be able to forgive yourself, it helps you also to do what? To progress. Just like asking for forgiveness, it helps you to progress. When you forgive yourself, it helps you to progress. It's all about progression. I can progress because I said that, man, you know what? I'm not going to continue to be held down by who I was. It's about who I am, because who I am dictates where I'm going. Don't tell me about all of the things that I did. That's what I did. Talk about what I'm doing. Because that dictates where I'm going. See what I'm doing. Look at the stuff that I'm doing. This is the stuff that you can access. You can't access the stuff that I did. That's back then. I'm not doing that no more. Look at what I'm doing. So we forgive ourselves so we can go ahead and progress. And remember, we got to understand that we are all flawed individuals. Nobody on this earth's surface is perfect. Pencils come with erasers for a reason. Because we going to make errors. So when somebody tell you about the errors that you made, you be like, no doubt, I'm being a human being. That's what I'm doing, just doing what I do. Yet that was my thinking. But guess what? I got a new way of thinking now. That's the information that I was processing off of that helped me develop that philosophy. New philosophy now. I've forgiven myself because I was moving out of the philosophy that was developed based on the information from the environment that I was raised in. But now I've come in contact with different information. Now I got a different philosophy. You're dealing with a whole different individual now. I've forgiven myself because I understand that the reason why I was moving was because of what I was given back then. But now I shed that stuff off of me. What I put in, the work that I put in, it gives me the ability to what? Forgive myself. Can't hold that over me. So now my children, when they see me forgiving myself for the error that I made with them, now what does that do? It puts me in a position of power. Because now my children are not about to manipulate me and say, I know you feeling guilty. You better go ahead and get me everything that I got on my list. Boom. You better, brothers, y'all get out of here and children going to be sitting up here. You know what you owe me, brother. I see you done got to a place to where you feeling bad about yourself now. Oh yeah, children are immature. You feeling bad about yourself? Got him. They talking to their friends like, got him. Watch what I do. Watch how I rock Dad. I'm about to rock Dad like crazy. Right? Like, don't worry about it. I'm about to go ahead and have Dad. You gonna be out there hustling and grinding and everything to get them. Like, here, take it. They gonna take this. They be like, they gonna be like, nope, ain't enough. Go back out there. Get back on that ab. You gonna be right back on that ab trying to get because of that guilt, because your inability to forgive yourself. Children are immature like that. So you got to make sure that you get to a place to where you're forgiving yourself. And again, what did we discuss? We ain't just forgiving ourselves without putting in the work. We actually put in the work to say that we not that individual no more. So we have the right to forgive ourselves and nobody can hold that over our heads. Yeah, I know I was absent all of those years before that, but now I'm present now. Because I've developed my mind to be present. So yeah, you can't continue to say what was, you got to look at what is. You ain't got to, but it would be good for you to. Because I'm not about to respond to what was. You can continue to stay back there. And that will also teach them. They will see it will be ineffective to continue to look in the past. They will start to say, you know what? As a child, it will develop their minds and say, I'm not getting no traction when I continue to look in the past. I got to start to look at people for where they are, not where they was. It's going to start to develop them. Because if they see that it works, then they will start to develop that into their character and say, man, I'm going to do that from here on forth. And that's an issue. So we want them to be able to see us forgiving ourselves. And then we forgive others. Forgive them for what they've done. Sometimes our children will do things and we'll go ahead and pile all of that stuff up. And then when they do another small thing, we'll think about all of the stuff that they did that was wrong. And then we'll go ahead and take them all the way over the top for that small thing, but actually it's all of the other things that they've done. And we got to be disciplined to forgive others. Forgive us. All right, so that's the review. We got through the 4 chapters to establishing a strong positive relationship. The 5th layer to establishing a strong positive relationship with our children is respectful discipline. What does that look like? This is going to be key because this is the place where the negative relationships get established the most. When this comes up, what does it look like?
Pretty much the same thing as when you encourage them. Let them know the specific thing they did wrong. You don't have to beat your child. You don't sit them down. Have a conversation with them. Let them know where they went wrong. Explain how it affected the situation of them being wrong. And
Right.
make them acknowledge, their wrongdoing.
Right. Because we can't just let it slide, right? Because if we let it slide, then they will think that it's acceptable, and in society will also let it slide, right? So we don't want our children to be undisciplined, do we?
No.
An undisciplined life is an insane life, right? Like, we don't want to have an undisciplined life. It's an insane life. So we want our children to be disciplined. Now, what is discipline? Discipline means to teach. It's done out of love. That's the one word. That's the first term that we got to look at in this discipline piece. Discipline means to teach. It's done out of love. Y'all taking notes? Y'all can write this down.
Okay.
This gonna put us in another space right here, man.
Discipline.
Yep. Means to teach. And discipline is where the strong relationships are established. That's where the respect comes from, is when discipline is happening. That's good, right? That's good. So often we get the connotation that discipline is a negative, right? We get that connotation like, man, discipline, oh man, it's about to be some stuff. You gonna discipline my child? Like, especially when you're dealing with mothers and you trying to put together a household with different mothers, different children, and stuff like that, and you go to discipline their children, and it's like, you trying to discipline my children. That's all you want to do is discipline my children. And it's like, man, ain't that a good thing? But we get the connotation that discipline is a bad thing, and it's not. What we are really at, what creates the negative relationship is punishment. That's the term that creates the negative relationship. And that's what we want to stay away from, is being in punishment mode. We want to be in discipline mode, not punishment mode.
Punishment creates a negative.
Punishment creates barriers. It creates negative feelings inside of an individual. It creates resentment. Because punishment is done out of anger. It's done out of hate. You are trying to get back at the child. You are trying to retaliate against somebody. You're not trying to teach them now. You're trying to retaliate against them because you feel a certain type of way. It's no longer teaching. It's saying, I feel disrespected. I feel you trying to play me. So what I'm about to do to you, I'm about to go ahead and squash you. Punishment. And that's what we've seen a lot of times, is punishment.
Everybody got this? Word.
The two consequences that we're dealing with in this process is going to be a logical consequence. And we're going to tie all this stuff together, man. A logical consequence. And a logical consequence is a consequence that matches the actual offense. So we got to deal with consequences, right? So when we're talking about discipline or punishment, we dealing with consequences. So when we're talking about a consequence, we're talking about a logical consequence. That's a consequence that matches the actual offense. The shoe fits. Right. So, the next consequence is a natural consequence. A natural consequence is a consequence that happens organically. That means that it's a consequence that is automatically delivered from whatever act that was committed. Yep. Yep. Good stuff. So a natural consequence is a consequence that happens organically. So then that means that whatever, action has taken place, it's a consequence that's already there. So when you think about a natural consequence, what's the natural consequence, fellas, do you think of? What if I say, don't put your hand on that hot stove? What is the consequence if I say, I'm going to do it anyway?
You're gonna burn yourself. You're gonna get burned.
That's a natural consequence, right?
Right.
That means that I don't have to, I don't have to make up no consequence.
Right.
It's already one there. You see what I'm saying? It's already one there. This is what we want to make sure that we are looking at when we are, for us to be in discipline mode, that means that we just support that consequence, right?
Right.
When I support the consequence that's already there, I'm just letting them know, like, okay, I told you not to put your hand on your stove, and that's why your hand is feeling the way that it's feeling and is burnt up right now, because you put your hand on the stove. I'm not adding another consequence to the consequence that's already there. If I added another consequence to one that's already there, now we are going into punishment mode. How is that? How can I add another consequence to one that's already there? Hey, son, don't put your hand on the stove. Son puts hand on stove. Boom.
Right.
Hold on, real quick. Consequence is just saying, man, you know what? We just uphold the consequences already there. If he touches the stove and burns his hand, and then I say, man, dang, you already got a consequence. It's like, no, I'm gonna go ahead and give you another consequence. Now you about to get a whooping. Boom. How many people do that? Like, man, boom, you about to get a whooping. I told you not to put your hand on the stove. Now you getting a whooping too. When we do that, now we are in punishment mode because we are overdoing it. You know you are in punishment mode when you overdo it. Only thing that you got to think of is when somebody overdoes it with you. How do you feel towards that individual that overdo it with you? When you be like, man, you went all the way out the box. You didn't have to go all the way there with it, right? Like, just think about if a judge, if you got this right here and this was something that was probationable, and they would have been like, man, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and give you 7 years in prison. And you like, man, dang, I should have been at CAC. Like, ain't no way I should have got no 7 years in prison. How are you going to feel towards that judge? You're going to be resentful. Are you going to be in a space to where you're going to take any type of information from them? No. Because you like, man, you don't have my best interest at hand because you trying to, man, wipe me off the map. Like you seen my error and you done took me all the way up top. You overdid it because that judge is in punishment mode. They're not in discipline mode. They're not trying to teach you. They're trying to punish you. And when you are being punished, then that's when you start to feel negatively about the individual that is punishing you. As a human being, you're not learning. You like, man, hey, I'm mad now. So then that's what we don't want to be with our children, is in punishment mode. And when we talking about the logical consequence, I want you to think about just, man, putting some thought into what is going to be the consequence for the children for whatever they done, right? But we got to think about it. What makes sense, right? What makes sense? So when we talking about logical, here goes something with my son, my 16-year-old, Lil Los, right? We talk about Lil Los. He's 23. He just asked me yesterday, too. He says, man, what's going on with that stimulus? He asked me. He's 23. He's waiting on for that stimulus, right? Because they said they're going to mail a check to my house. What he don't know is his name is my name, and I'm like, man, I'm going to cash that puppy. I could cash Carlos. It's Carlos Christian, right? I got the ID for that, right? Like, Carlos, I'm just playing, right? No, like that brother, you know how much that brother owed me? That brother owed me, man. That brother been asking, borrowing stuff, and don't pay that stuff back. That brother been borrowing like a mug, man. I got you, Dad. And it's like, man, yeah, man, like, man, I don't even be, like, brother, cut the games, man. Like,
You ain't never gonna pay me back.
right, like that brother be like, I be like, man, I done got into a point like, man, brother, you start talking about 3 digits, man, it's a no. It's a hard no. When you talk about 20, 30, I'm like, okay, it's cool, because I'm going to go ahead and chalk that anyway. Like, that's where I'm at in my mind. Because when he talking about 3 digits and 200s and 300s, I'll be like, brother, because I'll be sitting up here popping up out your trash can at your house. Where my money at, man? Like, give me my money. His brother, Dad, you popping up on my trash can? Like,
It's like, Dad?
right. Like I'm popping up out the like this brother over the top, man. I'm popping up out the trash can like, you ain't think I was gonna be here, did you? Yeah, you been dodging me, huh? Yeah, I seen you been dodging my phone calls, brother. Like, this brother popping up out of trash can. So that's why I say I keep it at $20, $30, right? So I ain't got to pop up out his trash can. I ain't got to be all in his trash can. You know what I'm saying? When he about to go take his trash can back, I'm going to be like, brother, what's up? Where my money at? You ain't been answering my calls, brother. Like, this trash can kind of heavy. Like, man, my father is popping up out of the trash can about that little paper. Like, let me get that paper, man. Like, I want my 300. I want my 300. No. Wait, he waiting on that check. He's like, man, they told me the 26. I was like, I know that's right, son. It's going to get forwarded because I got the new address. I was like, it's going to get forwarded. I'll get it to you. Don't worry about it. I got you, you know? Absolutely. But yeah, so Lil Los, man, let's go back to Lil Los when he was 16. At the time, me and my wife at the time, we had gave him a car. He had the Sonata, so we gave him the Sonata. It was a car that we had paid off for her, and I gave her the car that I had, and I had got another car, right? So we had 3 cars, so we gave Lil Los the Sonata. And I'm like, man, I feel kind of good. Because, you know, when I was 16, man, I sold dope to get my first car. And I'm like, man, you know what? Hey, man, I'm giving him his car. Not only that, but we put him through driving school. I put myself through driving school, right? I did all of that stuff. I bought my license. I did everything. Right, I got my own insurance. That's what I did when I was 16. I was grinding though from 13 to 16. I was focused because I couldn't get no moped, and I was sick. And I said I'm about to get me a car though, so I made sure I stacked to make sure I was able to get me a car. Right, because I wanted a moped when I was 14, and I seen people zooming on their mopeds. I was like, I can't get no moped. I bet you I get me a car. So I was ready to rock and roll when I was 16. But Los, he ain't had to go through that, right? So I'm like, man, okay, I got you. Right? So he had his car. I told him, I said, what the rules was. I said, son, man, you working at McDonald's, so I'm going to need you to put gas in the car. We already got your license. We got your car. I need you to put gas in the car, and I need you to maintain the car. He was like, cool, I got it. And I said, I also need you to come in at 10:30. Is that cool? You know, you 16 years old, you a junior in high school, 10:30 is a good time. You work until 8:30 at McDonald's. That gives you 2 hours to be able to go ahead, parlay, kick it with your friends or whatever, and then, you know, be home. 10:30. He's like, cool, got you, right? I'm like, there it is. So he understood what it was. A couple of days go by, the little brother comes in at 10:45, right? Look, now, what do? Logical. What's a logical consequence that I can give to my child? What's that place? Either logical or natural. Is it a consequence there if I don't implement one? No. So then that means that I got to come with a logical consequence for him to have a consequence, right? Remember, discipline means to teach. So I got to come with a consequence to teach him that, man, be on time, son. Like 10:30 means 10:30. So what is the consequence that I can come with to try to get him to shift in the way he's doing things?
For a week or two when you catch that bus to work, and I bet you get home on time then.
Okay, good. So, okay, good. Y'all agree with that?
Yeah.
Run the keys?
Yeah.
Okay, now, I'm going to challenge y'all now. Because now what do you do after that? Because sometimes if you go swinging for the fences in the beginning, man, sometimes, you know, they might get discouraged and they just be like, man, forget it. Like, you done already gave me everything you had. If you done hit it with everything you got off the bat, guess what's going to happen? They're going to be like, man, forget it, right? Like, you know what? Hey, I done took your best punches. What else you going to do to me? Have you seen them type of situations where the kid just like, there's nothing else you can do to me, man? Like, you done took me all the way over the fence from the beginning, right?
I was one of them kids.
A better punishment.
Right. So that's why we want to change up.
A better punishment might be the next night he has to come in at 10 o'clock.
Good. Okay. So you saying shift the curfew.
Right.
So instead of 10:30, it's like, boom, now I need you to come in at 10 o'clock. Since you can't make it to 10:30, I'm going to go ahead and take it down to 10 o'clock.
And then from there, the punishments the disciplines get progressively worse.
Right.
And
Now we thinking.
You have to explain that to them.
Absolutely. And now you can back it up. Look, this is what it takes, man. Because when you come with this level of care, it strengthens and it enriches the relationship. Because now they like, man, it's hard, but it's fair. So that's why it's important to really think about it. We don't just want to throw anything out there. We want to really go and think about what's the best thing that fits this actual offense. And how can we make it make sense? So when you say, man, I'm going to take off some time, that can make sense, right? Because they like, man, hold up, I was late. So we got to take off some time. So now when you want to tighten it up even more, how can we tighten it up even more? Not only do we take off the time, but how much time do we take off? Why did we take off 30 minutes?
Because it was double what the offense was. That's why I said 30 minutes.
Good.
15 minutes late both nights, that's 30 minutes.
Right.
So, okay, cool. But the first night that it was 15 minutes late, why do you take the 30 minutes off?
Because you're not taking the entire night away from him, you're just shortening it so that he knows that this is what could possibly be.
It's a logical consequence.
It's a logical consequence.
It is. But I think that we can get it a little bit tighter. Because why not the first time that he was late? Why not the 15 minutes cost him 15 minutes? Why not take his curfew down to 10:15?
It fits the crime. I mean, it fits the offense, right?
I mean, if he was 15 minutes late, now I'm going to tell you like, man, hey, son, I'm going to need you to be 15 minutes early now. Right?
Yeah.
The first time.
The first time.
The first time. This is only the first time. Look, I'm just setting him up. I'm just shooting at him so he can see what it sounds like. I'm not really trying to hit him right now, right? I'm just trying to let him see the sound of this stuff, right? So he can start to change in the way that he's going. Like, brother, you hear them cannons, brother? Like, they gonna come out. I'm like, pat. he like, pat, right? I just want him to change in the way that he's thinking. Ultimately, I want him to change in the way that he's thinking. Right? So then that's why I just hit him with the 15 minutes. Son, man, I'm going to go ahead and need to take 15 minutes off. That would be good. But I'm going to tell you the first thing that I did, to be truthful, what I did when he was late to 10:45, I gave him a warning. And I said, son, I gave him a verbal warning. I'm like, man, son, 10:30 means 10:30. That means that if you ain't in here at 10:30, man, there's going to be some time knocked off for your dang old curfew. Right, so I let him know what it was going to be, and I told him that 10:30 means 10:30. Do you understand? Right, so I'm making sure that I'm getting the right individual. Right, I'm making sure I got the right man. And he's like, man, I understand, Dad. That's cool. So of course, after that, he comes in again at 10:45 with his excuses. Man, Dad, man, it was traffic on Cleveland Avenue. I couldn't make it home. It was crazy. That's why I'm here at 10:45. I'm 15 minutes late again. But now what do? Now I take the 15 minutes off, right? I'm taking the 15 minutes off of his curfew. So now I say, son, I hear it, man, reasons and results. Reasons don't matter. Only thing that matter is results. Son, I don't care about the reasons why you not here. Because when you become an adult, they ain't going to care about the reason why you ain't making it to work on time. If you late over and over again, guess what's going to happen? Fired, right? Nobody is listening to that stuff. I'm just preparing my son to be an adult that's going to be successful. And I'm letting him know, man, 10:30 means 10:30. So now I say 10:15. And it's like, this is crazy. This is what was going on. It was going back and forth. Because, of course, when I hit him with the 10:15, first he had the warning, and he was like, okay, I'm still cool, right? Still got my keys, I'm still cool. And then I hit him with the 10-15, he was like, it's still not that bad, right? So it's still not getting him to think in a way that's going to make his situation better. So again, guess what time he come in next time? 10:30. And he gonna sit up here and say, man, you know, I was supposed to be in at 10:30 anyway. Trying to negotiate with me. Like, man, my curfew was 10:30 anyway. Like, it ain't no big deal, Dad. Like, my curfew was 10:30. I says, no, son, man, your curfew 10:15. So now, instead of that 15 minutes costing him a warning, costing him 15 minutes, now what is that 15 minutes gonna cost him? A half hour. What am I doing? I'm increasing the consequence. I'm the severity of the consequence. Why? Because if you continue to get caught up on the same thing in life, then it will get worse for you. It just is what it is. You can only come into the CAC so many times before it gets worse for you. I kid you not. You cannot continue to come here and think that it's going to stay the same. It's going to be worse. So if you come back here again, and again, and again, each time that you come back, it will be worse. This is life. So what I'm doing with the warning, I say, man, first your 15 minutes cost you a warning. Now your 15 minutes cost you 15 minutes. Now your 15 minutes is costing you 30 minutes. The same offense, but it's costing you more. I'm teaching. Remember, discipline means to teach. So, of course, it went down to 9:45 with his curfew, 30 minutes off the 10:15, right? Because I'm taking it off of whatever it is. So it's 30 minutes off of the 10:15. So, of course, this brother ain't make the 9:45. This brother blew it out the water. So now, what do I do? No, let me get them keys, brother.
Yeah, let me get them keys. Now
I need those keys. Look, I feel good about my position because I really do believe that I'm in discipline mode. And I worked up to that. I'm not taking him all the way over the top. I'm working up to that. I'm giving him the respect, right, to change his own way, right? I'm not forcing him to do anything. I'm just saying, man, something gonna change and it's not gonna be me, brother. I'm going to continue to keep this structure in place. You can continue to bang against it all day long. But when your head continue to bust open, brother, that's you that's going to feel your head busting open. I'm going to continue to do what I do. My responsibility as a father in discipline is to make sure that the structure stays up. That he don't go outside of the structure. I keep the structure up. So I just continue to show him that resistance. So now when I took the keys on a Wednesday. Right, so then that means Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I had to drop him off to work, and then I would pick him up from work. Right, but I gave him back the keys on a Monday. I said, you'll get back the keys on Monday. When you get the keys back on Monday, your curfew will be restored. That means you will go back to 10:30. But right now, I'm gonna need those keys. So now, when you go into school, you're gonna have to get back on that cheese wagon. That brother, like, dang, I gotta get back on the bus. That brother he succumbed to recidivism. He got right back on the bus, like riding the school bus to get to school. Because he couldn't get to school any other way. I wasn't taking him to school because he got transportation to school. It just so happened that he wasn't on the bus line to get to work. Or I would have shifted him to the dang on bus line. But he wasn't on the bus line and I still wanted him to get to work. Remember, I'm disciplining. That means to teach. So then I would make sure that he would get to work on time. 3 o'clock. Golden, right? He would call me about like 8 to pick him up about 8:30. And I'll be like, man,
parking lot.
Right, no doubt. I'll be like, nah, I'm going to be honest. And this was no, like, petty stuff on my half. It was just that the Cavs was on. And the Cavs on, it was championship behavior time. You know, I mean, that was 2016, 2015, man, 2014. Like, they was doing their thing. LeBron was there. I'm like, yeah. So I said I'll be there at halftime, man. You know, like, that's just what it is. So when I got to his job at McDonald's, I got there by like 9:25. You know, he got off at 8:30. I got there by like 9:25, somewhere around there, because I'm doing my thing. You know, this is the luxury that I have because I got my own transportation. And like I told him, I said, man, son, you got your own transportation, but hey, you didn't want to come in at the time you needed to come in. So I was just trying to teach him. But I was telling him, like, man, hey, I'm not coming in late just because I'm coming in late. I'm coming in the time that fits me. Like, I'm not coming in the time that fits you.
Nah, you on my schedule.
You on my schedule. When you on somebody else's schedule, it's different for you.
Oh, man.
So this is what I want to teach him, is that you want to get on your own schedule. Right? When you on your own schedule, life is just a little bit more joyous for you. But when you on somebody else's schedule, oh my gosh, man, it never like pleases you the way that you want to be pleased. This is just the discomfort of being on somebody else's schedule. What was so uncomfortable for me inside of the joint is that, man, I was on other people's schedule. I was on my family schedule when they would send money orders in. I was on my family schedule when they would accept the calls. I was on my family schedule when they would bring my children up to see me. I was on somebody else's schedule. That affected me the most, being on other people's schedule. I like to get up and go and do what I want to do. I don't want to sit up here and ask, can I do? I was on other people's schedule when I had to use the bathroom. It was count time, and they'd be like, man, you got to raise your hand to go in and ask to go to the bathroom as an adult. I didn't like that, being on other people's schedule.
Talk to him.
No.
Let's go.
I can't stand being on other people's schedule.
For real though.
Because other people's schedule fits them.
Them, not you.
It don't fit me. The only person's schedule that fits me is my schedule. So I need to be on my schedule. That's just the spirit that I got. And my son, he was starting to see what it feels like to be on my schedule.
That's right. That's right.
And he comes outside from McDonald's and he is salty. I'm talking about that brother sits down in the passenger seat, but I'm all excited because Kyrie did a move that was golden. And I'm like, man, and I'm explaining to him what Kyrie did, and he's like, man, I'm like, you should have seen him. He did like this, and then he came like this, and he yacked him like that. And he looked at me and he said, man, I'm like, man, son, you know what I'm saying? He a Cavs fan too. I'm like, Cavalier, basketball, and I'm like that, and he like,
Oh, man.
Nah.
I ain't feeling this. I say, you ain't feeling what, son? What's going on, man? Cavalier basketball, baby. He like, man, right, I'm just hype. You should see me in the car. I'm like, Cavalier basketball. Yeah. He like, man, I ain't feeling that. I say, what's going on, son, man? He says, man, they got me making frappe mochas, man, all the way up until just now because I'm the only one that can use that know how to use the frappe machine. And when I clocked out, they still asking me to help out, man. I just wanted to get off work and just go. Like, man, I've been here since 8:30. I've been off since 8:30, and this stuff is crazy, man. I say, man, yeah, no doubt, man. I say, it sucks, huh? He's like, man, that stuff don't make no sense, man. Like, I was supposed to been home. I got other stuff I wanted to do. And I said, son, and then this is when I'm asking him the questions. I say, son, but I'm asking you though, like you had that opportunity to just clock right out of work and go do what you do, you know?
You messed that up for yourself.
Son, but you was the one that was playing around about that curfew though, right? Who was I playing around? That's why I asked him. Was I playing around about the curfew? I just said it, you know. I set the curfew and you know, I gave you the car, son, but you had the opportunity to be, and you'll have the opportunity again, but you had the opportunity then to go ahead and clock out and get straight into your car, go kick it with your friends and do what you do. The only stipulation in that is that you make it home at a particular time. But you felt like that time wasn't that important. So with that was the consequences. Did you understand your consequences fully, son? Like, you should have exerted all your energy into understanding the consequences, right? And if it's something that you didn't like, then you might not want to do that same exact thing. You know, so I had this conversation, and you can see him starting to shift because he's understanding that he has actually created his situation. He's saying that, man, I had my car, but man, I blew it by not coming in on time, by not taking my dad's word serious. That's on me. I made the decision, right? So now what he do is like, he do that for a couple of more days, and then I gave him back the keys on Monday, and he's like, man, good stuff. He was excited. He got the keys back. He's like, man, I'm ready to rock and roll. I look out the window later on that night when he was coming in 10:30 again. That brother was in the driveway at 10:20. I'm like, man, this brother here. And then that brother ain't come in the house until 10:30. On the petty side, he like, man, I'm gonna still sit in the car until 10:30. You can see that brother just chilling in the car like doing nothing. I'm like, this brother just trying to like use up all this 10:30, right? He like, I ain't getting out the car until 10:29. I'm like, whatever you gotta do, brother, I'm cool with it. But guess what decision he made when he was with his friends? He probably told his friends, like, you know what, I gotta get up out of here because I gotta make it home, and I'd rather be early than late. Like, if I'm not early, then I'm late. So I'm gonna make sure I make it there by 10:20, so I'm not in a position to where I'm making frappe mochas way past my checkout time at work, because y'all jokers ain't gonna come pick me up. Ain't nobody gonna come pick me up, and I'm gonna have to deal with it myself. I'm not about to go without my car again. So what does that mean? What is he doing? Remember, discipline means to teach. Which one of the characteristics? Learning. What is he making? A good decision maker. He's a good decision maker, right? That means he's saying he doesn't want those consequences.
Self-regulating.
He's regulating himself. He's making sure that he is back by the time that he needs to be back by. That means that he is preparing for traffic or any other thing that might happen, and he's going to be early so he can account for anything that might happen, so he definitely is not late. Self-regulated, right? And not only that, but what is he also doing? Ain't he bringing value back to the table? The reason why I'm bringing value back to the table is because I don't have to take him to work now. I don't have to go ahead and pick him up from work. And not only that, but he has his vehicle. I can tell him go to the store. I can tell him go to the store within those 4 days because he didn't have his car. That means that if he don't have his car, I can't tell him to go ahead and drive to the store just because I want him to do something, right? That means that you cannot drive your car, period. But now that he has his car back, now he's bringing value back to the table because I can ask him to go make a run for me now. Because he's made the decisions to be able to be in that position, to bring something back to the table. But because he was able to see a situation change, not because I changed it for him, but because he changed it for him. He's the one that says, I'm going to make it on time. He's the one that says, I'm going to regulate myself. He's the one that says that. Because of him doing that, what does that increase?
Doing his best.
Doing his best to make it there. Absolutely right. What does that also increase?
Knowledge.
His confidence, don't it?
Yes.
Don't you feel more confident when you are able to change your situation?
Yes.
When your situation is changed because of the work that you put in?
Good feeling.
That's a good feeling. That gives you that confidence because you like, man, you know what? I put in that work. When I see my situation the way that it is, I'll be like, man, that increases my confidence because at the end of the day, brothers, I made the sacrifice. I'm the one that was inside of Marion Correctional Institution, and I stopped cussing. I stopped using cuss words inside of Marion Correctional Institution because I said that I didn't want to.
Does anybody need meds? We're
What time
good.
is it? Noon?
Oh, dang, shoots, man. We getting it in. All right, cool. We about to wrap it up, fellas. We about to wrap it up. We about to wrap it up. But yeah, but that's what it is, fellas. That's what it is. It's about, man, it's about us changing our situations. And when we have the ability to change our situations, that increases our confidence. Because it's like, man, at the end of the day, if I change my situation, if I built this thing up, man, it's going to be harder to tear down. You can't tear down something that I done built up, brother. Because even if you try to tear it down, I got the knowledge on building it up. I can build it right back up again.
Yes.
This is the beauty in it all. You can't take nothing from me, brother. I can get it back.
Quick.
I can get it back. I got the blueprint. I got the knowledge up here. That changes the game. So then that means when storms come and storms are wrecking stuff up, and it's like, man, that's cool. I'm confident. that whatever the storm dismantles, I'll be able to put it back together again because I got the knowledge on putting it together. It changes the way that you move. So then this is what we are doing when we are interacting with our children in this way. And we stay in discipline mode, not in punishment mode. Discipline, it produces a strong positive relationship, whereas the punishment, it produces the negative relationship, which creates the barriers, right? We want to stay in discipline mode. Discipline means to teach. Punishment means to hurt or harm. All right, fellas?
Yes, sir.
Good stuff, man. We got it in, man. Again, man. Absolutely, brother. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely, brother. Good stuff, man. We continuing to move, man. Bro, no doubt, man. We build, man.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
I got you
man.
some more papers, too.
Okay, you done?
Yeah.
Good stuff. Did you read this? Absolutely. Okay, you too, brother. Absolutely. Huh? Tomorrow, 9 o'clock. Yep. Tomorrow and Saturday. Saturday is graduation. Saturday is graduation, and I'll have your signed copies of the book. And the case manager being here tomorrow.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. Case manager being here tomorrow.
Thank you, Mr. Lowe's.
Absolutely, brother.
Real.
Oh, absolutely, man.
Yeah.
And right now, for real, man, I got some. I got employers hitting me up now. It's crazy. I got employers hitting me up, man, in Columbus, man. You know, the job that I used to be at. So they hollered at me, the human resource manager, and said, "Man, I want to work with people who've been in your situation." I'm like, "That's dope."
I pretty much, actually, I'll show you. I make custom clothing for a living. I'll show you my clothing.
Oh, dope, good stuff. But yeah, they had $20 an hour. I'm like, man, that's good stuff. Right, $20 an hour, brother. That stuff crazy, man.
Factory work.
Yup. Just order selector. You know, just warehouse order selector, pick it. You know,
They interested in people like us, huh?
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the game. So that's the movement. So when I'm putting out there and letting everybody know my history, my past, it's also to influence the people in society to let them know how valuable we are. Only thing that needs to happen is we need to get it. And once we get it, we can do all kind of things, man.
My clothing line or whatever I make custom
Oh,
clothing
yeah.
and all that out of East Lamar, man. Come check when I get out. Come check me
No
out.
doubt. Absolutely, man. Guaranteed, man. You in East Lamar?
Yep. Eastland, and we got one in Tuttle Mall also.
That's crazy, man. I'm there, man. Heck yeah. Absolutely.
Appreciate all the knowledge, bro.
No doubt, bruh.
See you in the morning.
All right, bro. See you.
Yep.